Well, hello. Today there was an AMA on Reddit hosted by Asterdahl, one of the developers, that pertained to the Redeemed Citadel, and there were a bunch of questions asked about it since there's been a whole lot of confusion regarding the event as a whole. So I really just wanted to summarize all of the information that was given in this AMA thing, and hopefully if you guys are still having questions or concerns about the Citadel, it might, answer them. Because that's the whole point of an AMA. Anyways, there weren't actually that many questions because, participation in the AMA was pretty low. And I think I said that about the last AMA too, that there wasn't a whole lot of activity, but I think a lot of people just didn't know about it, or they just figured that other people would ask the questions that they have because they probably have the same questions, and that might be true. We all noticed that the equipment section of the Zariel's Favor vendor has nothing in it, and it's not actually supposed to be visible yet, even though the dialogue box says that you can now buy the weapons. But that's not going to unlock until a later time. So there is going to be stuff in it, but you're just not able to buy it yet, and that's why it's empty. All the rumors of a new BHE coming are correct, but it's not going to be available until a later milestone, so we don't get to see it yet. It's going to be called Ensnare, apparently. Apparently that was in a blog post and I just missed it. I've been missing a lot of things lately, or maybe I just forgot. Either way, there's a new BHE that's eventually going to show up, and I'm excited for that because I like heroic encounters. Everyone's least favorite thing right now is standing around farming mains in the wastelands, and there's a couple things I wanted to talk about that, one of which being that there is a possible improvement to that will be coming next week, or at least they're going to try to have it for next week. And the other thing is that there's been a lot of speculation and questioning about the spawn rate of the hunt marks. And people were saying, well, is it on a timer? What do I have to do to get them to spawn? And it's kind of pretty much the same as Chult, meaning that you have to kill the normal version of the enemies before the hunt marks will have a chance to spawn. It's kind of like they have a chance to spawn in their place. So they're not going to spawn unless the normal versions of the enemies around it are dead. So in the case of the mains, you just get to repeatedly run over things in the wastelands until they show up. Or if you get lucky, you can stand in one spot and other people run it over, and then you can kill it. Also kind of related to trophies is the drop rate of them as a whole likely is not going to be increased until after the equipment isn't as viable anymore. That's just so that people don't have to work as hard to get transmutes later on whenever the gear is not really worth equipping anymore. So other than mains, like I said a minute ago, they're not going to change the drop rate of anything. Okay, another concern was the Reforger's Blessing, exactly how it works. The specific question was, can you progress in all 4 milestones at once after they're all over? Or are you still going to have to progress one at a time? And the answer is you will be able to progress all 4 at the same time. Obviously, we saw the issue where we were progressing in Milestone 2, even though it hadn't begun yet. And that's because you're going to be able to progress in all the milestones at once, but you just aren't supposed to be able to do that until the milestones have ended or are unlocked. So if you bought the blessings now and then just don't participate in the event until next year, you will still be able to progress. The rewards will still be there for you, provided you have the blessing. The only thing is there won't be any weekly challenges to kind of help boost you along, because the weekly challenges are going to go away after the event is over. One of the hunts, Auki, that one that spawns in the Harriman's Hill right next to the entrance there, Asterdahl mentioned that it has an ability that causes you to be eaten by the ground if you don't escape it, which I thought was interesting, and whenever we killed it, we didn't get to see that, which I assume because we killed it too quickly because we were in a party and we're just super cool like that. But now I kind of want to try it by myself so that I can see it, because that sounds like fun. Being eaten alive, or buried alive, or both. Going back to hunts for a moment, Asterdahl hinted that there are features that are going to be unlocked in the Citadel later on that might make trophy farming a little bit easier. I don't know what this is referring to or what it even means, but, I thought I would share it, okay? Also, something that I found interesting is that the music that is in the Citadel is going to change as the restoration progresses. The only thing is I play with my music off, so I would never have noticed if he didn't say anything, which is why I'm mentioning it, because I'm sure that I'm not the only person that plays with music off. So I'll have to turn it on just to see what the music even is, and then listen to it as it changes. That would be really cool. It would also be really cool if it like seamlessly changes during the transition to the next, or when the milestone is completed. That would be cool, but I don't know if that actually happens because, like I said, don't have music on, or didn't have music on. Okay, next is a couple things about the Vorpal thingy that the top 100 people got. The alternate version of that that's in the Zen market, there's no plans to remove that, so there's not a time limit if you want to get it or something. You'll have, as far as I am aware, endless time, or, a while to buy it. There's also an interesting bug right now with that, kind of irrelevant to this AMA, but it appears that the visuals are progressing backwards. Like, you know how whenever you upgrade a, say, Vorpal, for example, it gets more and more shiny and, brighter as you rank it up. But it appears to be the opposite for the Holy One and the Divine One. Whereas if you rank it up, it becomes less shiny. Maybe it's just tired, I don't know. A couple things about weapon and armor enchantments in general. Really only one thing. Oh, just kidding, two things. This is also not really related to the Citadel, but it was a question that was answered in the AMA, and that is that someone asked if they would ever consider adding the ability for you to change your appearance of weapon and armor enchantments, since, we have this Divine and Holy version, and it was hinted that more of those kind of visual enchantment changes are in development, so we can see more of those in the future, but it's not a milestone reward. He did say that the future milestone rewards are not enchantments, so that is interesting. But going back to what I said, they did discuss having that appearance change for weapon and armor enchantments, and it might be something that they do in the future, but there's currently no plans to do it. So it's definitely not going to be something that you see anytime soon. And also just about weapon and armor enchantments in general, the bad ones, because right now there's only like 4 relevant enchantments, and if you have one of the other ones, it's just labeled as garbage right now. And someone asked if there were any plans to kind of bring those bad ones closer or up to the level that the other ones are. And Asterdahl said that they're kind of really hesitant to change stuff like that because of the large economic impact meta shifts have, which I guess makes sense, because if everyone is using Vorpal and then suddenly something better than Vorpal appears, it's going to be like, the community's going to label it as this better enchantment, this updated one is necessary. And so everyone's going to want to shift it over, and that's super expensive. And then changing something that expensive all the time or often can be frustrating. But weapon enchantment and armor enchantment update is something that I have wanted for a little while, and I would really like to see that. Just because I feel like so many of them are just useless. I would like to see some of them be more geared towards specific roles. Like, obviously the majority of them are going to be DPS related in some way. And then you have Bronzewood, of course, that's kind of like a buff, but is also DPS related. But there aren't really any that are geared towards tanking and healing, which I think could be an interesting road to go down. The only thing is that if there were ones added for tanking and healing, they would pretty much automatically become best in slot, because there is nothing like that. And then that is, again, another economic thing that they would have to deal with and keep an eye on and stuff. So, I don't know. I just really would like an update to that and insignia bonuses. But anyways, the Celestial Wings legendary mount is still a secret. A bunch of people asked that question, like, can you give us a hint of what it's for? Is it a milestone reward? And he wouldn't say nothing. And by he, I mean Asterdahl, of course, just in case you forgot. Which I would really like to know where that comes from, and I would also like to know where I think it's called Golden Memories artifact comes from, because it's not listed as a reward in any of the milestones, just the neck and the waist is. So I really, really hope that it's not a milestone reward, because there's no way I'm gonna get it, and I need it. It's very important that I get that artifact. Speaking of stuff being available, there's not any plans for the companion gear in the Celestial Artifact set. I shouldn't call it that. The neck and waist artifact set to be available in other places during Mod 19, but it's highly likely that it's going to be available somewhere else in the future. So that stuff will most likely be obtainable in some other way, but the other rewards probably won't be, I'm guessing, because there is supposed to be some kind of like exclusivity to it. Is that a word? I just made it a word. This is a limited time campaign, so like a lot of stuff is just gonna go away because it's supposed to be like that. But people aren't used to that idea because they're just so used to everything becoming available either as a timed event again at some other point or just being constantly available. So this is something that's kind of new for people, and I think it's people don't really want to adjust. But I guess that's the same with anything. Anyways, I feel like I keep going off topic, but the regions to define. What is this, a dictionary? The regions to refine the blessed weapons are going to be available for Zariel's favor once the milestone has ended. You know, right now it doesn't say it has ended, it's just complete. So whenever we move on to Milestone 2 on September 15th, Milestone 1 will be ended, and then you should be able to buy the regions for the weapons in the Zariel's favor shop. Except I don't think there's any regions in Milestone 1, but you get the point. Like, you'll be able to buy them with Zariel's favor in the milestone after, basically. Oh, I did forget to mention one thing, that I did say that the Reforger's Blessing allows you to progress in all 4 milestones at once when the event is over, but it also includes future characters that you could create. So even if the character doesn't exist right now and you decide to make whatever the new class is next year, you have the Reforger's Blessing, you'll be able to progress and get those rewards on that character if you wanted. So I think that's pretty cool. And you know what? I think that is everything that I wanted to cover. And so I think it's time that I hop on out of here, because it's almost my bedtime. So thank you all for watching or listening or whatever. I hope you found this video at least slightly informative, even if you didn't have any questions about the Redeemed Citadel specifically. Maybe there was something that you found interesting or something that you didn't know before. And if you do have any other questions, I might be able to answer them if you ask. So comment the question if you have it. Otherwise I can't answer it because I won't see it. Okay, I'm leaving. Okay, bye.